Yo, what's going on? Foot's here. Got Zach, double move. This is going to be a cool kind of series that we're started, a versus series, and it's going to be highlighting and deep diving training camp battles, and not just the low hanging fruit of Cooper Rush versus Dak Prescott. Nah, I think we want to get deeper. I think we want to talk about how playing time will get distributed in some of these other roster positions, Zach, through these players that were drafted, first year players, now second year players, and then maybe free agents, and then guys who we may not think who would have a roster position or have a big role on this team, end up having a big role on this team. So we got 10 of them, Zach, and I think that we're getting closer to the end. And so hopefully this series kind of can hold people over. All right, Zach. Number one, Marshawn Kneeland, Sam Williams. I have my thoughts. First of all, how do you feel about the two players, Zach?
With Marshawn Kneeland, obviously a second-round pick. A lot of people maybe forget that Sam Williams was also a second-round pick. I really like both players, and we'll get into it a little bit more. Each guy has their thing that they do well, and then they have their things that they don't do well, and how Mike Zimmer fits into that.
And so I'm glad that you brought up Mike Zimmer. I'm going to bring up Jeff Skinina. I think that when we talk battle and when we talk who fits best in this scheme, I think we have to keep in mind who drafted Marshawn Kneeland, who drafted Sam Williams. I'm not saying that day one, play one, Marshawn Kneeland will get more reps than one Sam Williams. But what I am saying is I do believe that this regime may favor Marshawn Kneeland more than Sam Williams for a couple of reasons. I think that he plays with hands a little bit better than Sam. I don't know if he has the twitch and the athleticism that Sam does, but what he lacks in athleticism and sheer bend, I think he makes up for in just football player.
Yep.
How do you feel, Zach? Am I off there? What are you thinking?
So with Marshawn Kneeland, he is the prototypical Mike Zimmer guy in my mind. He's big, he's physical, he has violent hands, he plays the run very well, and by all accounts, he's a really hard worker, right? Those are traits that Mike Zimmer loves to have in his defenders, especially on the edge. A guy that you're going to ask to come in and be a rotational piece behind Micah Parsons to start the season, obviously competing with Sam Williams for those reps. And I'm sure you'll speak on this too. For Sam Williams, I think he's a guy that Mike Zimmer might get a little frustrated with, just in terms of he's a talented guy. He has the physical tools. He showed some upside as a pass rusher, some good stuff in the run game, but he's also a guy that can't get out of his own way, in like with penalties, stuff like jumping off sides, missing assignments. For Sam Williams to win this job, he's going to have to prove to Zimmer and the rest of the staff that he's matured beyond what we saw. Because I'm pretty sure I said in another video, it's one step forward for Sam, it's two steps back. So for him in camp, going against a guy like Kneeland, he needs to gain the trust of Mike Zimmer. No penalties, no boneheaded stuff. And I'm sure Mike's watched film. I mean, and I'm sure he's seen the stuff that we're going to talk about with Sam.
I think that the twitch, I think the ability to get upfield is excellent. That was a Dan Quinn deal. Dan wants guys who want to rush the passer. I'll never forget, he's down there at Ole Miss's pro day. He's working them out. He's all excited. But there was off the field concerns. That did some of that with the IQ, with the boneheadedness, with maybe not the love for football, did some of it transition to the football field. 2 years, 4 sacks. It's tied for like 99th in the league as far as DN rankings, sack numbers over that 2-year span. Zach is not good. And this is a second-year player who's like third year, you're waiting, okay, you've seen flashes. Then you're also like, there goes a penalty.
Yep.
There goes Sam doing something after the play. I do believe that Marshawn Kneeland is going to be a more effective player because when you look at the roster right now, the ageless wonder, DeMarcus Lawrence, is still playing at a very high level to me. And then you have Micah Parsons. But I believe when Micah Parsons is going to be spelled, I think that there are going to be times where they just trust Marshawn Kneeland, especially with his strength and what he could do versus the run. I think that they may end up trusting him a little bit more than Sam Williams. And I think if I had to make an early, bold prediction, I think that maybe not snap one, game one, he'll play more reps. But by the middle, end of the year, you could definitely see a phasing out of Sam Williams in his defense, especially if Marshawn Kneeland hits.
For Sam Williams, he needs to come in every single day. Come in, grind, listen to Zimmer's criticism, not take it to heart, watch film, whatever he needs to do. Mike Zimmer is going to make or break Sam Williams. He's not Dan Quinn. He's not going to hold hands. He's not going to, pat on the butt, keep it moving. He's going to make or break Sam Williams, and that comes with maturity. Can he take that criticism? I think that if anybody's going to get the best out of him, it's going to be Mike Zimmer. But if anybody's going to get in his mind to where he's like, I'm not doing that, it's also going to be Mike Zimmer. So that's going to be an interesting thing moving forward. How does that dynamic work? I know we're going to talk about the Micah Parsons dynamic with Zimmer. It's just a total different than what we saw with Dan Quinn. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Now, I will give Sam Williams a bone, and that's a hard follow-up because, Zach, you're right. I love that. Mike could literally make or break this guy because he's that strong-willed. I will say this. Sam Williams came out and said he actually does like this defense and he loves the structure of it. It's one thing to say that during OTAs when everything's easy and, there aren't live bullets. I want to see how it looks and how he takes to the coaching when things aren't going his way and he still has to play good football and he still has to be coached up, and I want to see how he takes to it. So, for me, this is going to be a very underrated, sneaky battle to watch, Zach.
I can't wait. It's going to matter. You lost guys like Dorrance Armstrong. You lost guys like Dante Fowler. These guys need to step up. So it's going to be interesting to see which one does.